Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Build. Today I'll be talking about my AAT. The first thing to get out of the way is that yes, I did rip apart and steal pieces from my official AAT Lego set, but I like my version a lot better, so I think it's justified. The vast majority of the pieces are different, but the most blatant reuses are the struts for the guns, as well as the front and top hatches, but that's it. This build is completely my own design, as are the rest of them in this film. Since there isn't all too much to talk about with the AAT, and the concept I want to talk about applies most of this model, I think this is a perfect place to put my thoughts on how I construct my builds. Just like the cartoons are stylizations of reality, my LEGO stop motions are stylizations of both reality and the cartoons. Take a look at the real AAT and the Clone Wars AAT. The general shape and structure and everything that makes it an AAT carries over to the Clone Wars, but a lot of the details are missing. Most notably, this entire front section is completely different, the only common feature being the hatch there. On my LEGO build, the complex shapes of the real AAT were too much for me, so I opted to replicate the design of the Clone Wars AAT. However, the details below the hatch take more inspiration from the real AAT, as they were easy enough to incorporate into the build. I apply these concepts to all my builds. I pack as much detail as I can into the model, but anything that is too complicated I can simplify down. The only other thing I wanted to talk about is the explosion of the AAT, ending the battle on Tarathon. When I had done the shot for the first time, the top blew off and then the whole thing exploded, but it looked wrong. In this earlier take, no damage was visible on the build. There was just an explosion and it was fine. Then I made the realization that I would have to partially destroy my model to add blast points. At first, I did a small amount, not wanting to rip apart my entire build, but my advisors urged me to increase the damage to where it ended up in the final shot. The model was easy enough to put back together, so it was fine. But that's pretty much all I have to talk about, so bye until next week, which will be about the ATTE.